here.
This guy's going to take some questions. He's going to take a few questions.
We have a Robbie Hummel bobblehead that will apparently be taking some questions, and we'll hit everything that we missed in the main hour here. But definitely want to make sure that we get to UConn, who, you know, after that tough rough patch that they kind of hit, obviously losing to Creighton. Big win today by double digits on the road at Villanova. And Rob, I would just say, you know, outside of that first 4 minutes, that was the best defensive performance that we've seen from UConn in a while. Offensively, it looked like things had started to click. I still don't think we've seen a complete 40 minutes out of this group yet, but that was a big-time response on the road after obviously a very disappointing home loss.
Yeah, it's frustrating as a fan to watch it because you see how good they can be defensively when they have their moments where they're playing well. And then you see how good they can be on the offensive end when things click, right? From about the 13-minute mark until Villanova reeled off, I think they scored 13 points in the last minute and a half of this game. In that window, I think UConn gave up 29 points in 32 minutes. And when they defend like that, that is what they were at the start of the year. That is what they were when they were playing their best. That is what they were when they were a top 4 defense in the sport. And then they have moments where, you know, the first 16 minutes of the second half, they were more or less unguardable. And when they are clicking like that offensively, you see what they can be. But I don't know if we've had a game yet where you see that defense and you see what they can be offensively, and you put those two things together for two halves of basketball. And that's where it's kind of like, well, we're now 3 games left in the regular season, right? Is that going to happen? Can they get to that ceiling, or is this just kind of who they are? And I think it's probably more the former, right? I still think that there is a ceiling for them to be able to get to, but every time it feels like they take a step forward, Silas Demery has 6 turnovers in the first half. Every time it feels like they take a step forward, they allow Josh Dix and Fedor Zugic to get to the rim literally whenever they want. So we'll see if they can eventually get there. I would probably still put my money on Dan Hurley being able to figure out how to be able to make that happen. But we have not seen a full 40 minutes of this team being what they can be offensively and being what they can be defensively yet. And they're 25-3 with a resume that is good enough to be the top number 2 seed in today's top 16 bracket reveal. So there's a lot of things that need to get figured out, but the sky is certainly not falling on Storrs, Connecticut right now.
Yeah. No, it's not falling. It's not falling. They're just not in the group that I thought they were going to be in at this point, right? I thought they were going to be there with, Michigan and Duke and Arizona. And I think I can safely admit now that they're not going to go in as one of those 3 favorites into the NCAA tournament. They haven't made as much progress as we thought they were going to make. They still have all the pieces. They can beat anybody on a given day. Absolutely. But, they've got their flaws. And I don't think Dan Hurley even would admit that he's got this team completely figured out. And Terrace Reed is a little bit of an enigma for me. And Silas Demery, like Rob said, is a little bit of an enigma with me. Alex Caravan, I love him to death, but, again, he kind of is what he is. And they don't have those pros around him like he had, the last couple years ago. So I think they're the second-tier team now. That doesn't mean they can't rip off 6 straight and win the whole thing. They're just not going to be one of those teams that, we just kind of pencil through to the Final Four like we did.
Mm-hmm. Well, earlier these guys got a chance. What's up with all these coaching interviews that you guys are doing without me now? I mean, if I'm doing the show, you guys are just you're cutting me out. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You're not very good at the interviews. You're really
obviously you guys made that abundantly clear because this is the second. Sometimes you guys let me interview the players, but the coaches you keep to yourselves. These guys got a chance to catch up with Dan Hurley after the win. Take a listen.
And now let me welcome onto the field of 68 after dark, fresh off of a 73-63 win at Villanova. Dan Hurley. Dan, it felt like for about the middle 32 minutes of that game, you got back to playing UConn defense. I got to imagine the last couple of days in practice weren't easy. How'd you get these guys turned around and playing this way again?
I mean, shaming them, just the standard, man. I mean, it's like, these guys, we all get on campus starting in June, and really try to, work your butt off and give yourself a chance to have a special year. And, just in the, like the performance the other night versus Creighton, like when you work as hard as we do and UConn gives you the resources that we get, like we can't let ourselves down like that. Like, showing up for a game. I mean, it's like just inexcusable. It was a really uncomfortable couple of days. And I thought for 36 minutes, you're up 21 against, I think a Villanova team that's pretty good on the road. I thought it was like a real championship level response by us.
Your bench, I've been saying it for weeks, like you hadn't been getting as much out of your bench as I thought you would get this year. Because you have a good bench. Like that should be a strength of yours, and it wasn't for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a month. How important was it to get those guys going tonight?
You got to have it. I mean, you got to, we've got to have that. I think all the best teams have that. I think for us, we do. We've got 9 quality players. I think, Big Eric Rob has had a great year for us. Malachi's been a little inconsistent, but like, those 2 wings for us are critical. I mean, just, what Jay Ross does for us defensively, and then, Stewart, just to have some wings that could switch 1 through 4. You saw their length, I thought, bothered Villanova. And then we got some offense, from just about everybody. So, when we had our big wins in the non-conference, like that's when the depth showed up for us. We beat Illinois and Florida, BYU, and they were healthy, and it was because of our depth. Let's go for it.
You mentioned after the Creighton game that Alex was moving like a cargo ship. He looked like he was a little bit better tonight. Is he back to healthy? Is this just kind of like a wear and tear kind of a thing?
He was moving around like a love boat. Captain Stubing and what was the bartender's name on that?
Rob's too young. I can't remember it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I got
the Love Boat. I mean, that's when the shows were good. But Alex was dealing with something. Maybe we should have sat him in that game. It was something that improved a lot because he only played like 22 minutes in the Creighton game. So not having to play the 36 minutes that he's been forced to play because I haven't been using the bench. And that's a me problem. I mean, I've got to trust the bench more, so that AK doesn't break down the stretch. And you could saw it today. He moved more like himself. He had life in his legs. So, AK, he moved like a faster boat than a cargo ship, maybe tugboat.
Good stuff there with Coach Dan Hurley. All right, zooming out a little bit, St. John's beat the shit out of Creighton. So as we're sort of wrapping up here, taking a look at the top of the Big East, Rob, how do we handicap it right now?
I mean, we're going to find out Wednesday, right? St. John's got to make their return trip up to they're playing it in the XL Center. That I don't know if I love the decision to play the St. John's game at the XL Center, but I guess when they can figure they can sell 17,000 tickets for it, they might as well try to sell 17,000 tickets for it. If I am going to be completely honest, that matchup terrifies me. I just think St. John's is playing a certain level of basketball right now, and the way that they match up against UConn and kind of what St. John's does well and where UConn struggles is not ideal, man. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah,
I'm not going against your UConn Huskies in Hartford. Come on, we're not going against the UConn Huskies in Hartford. No chance.
Never.
They get the win.
Never. Never. But I can sit here and be terrified about that matchup.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty big favorites. They're going to be like, what? That's all right. Hedging is fine. Mm-hmm. It's better for your health, I think, in the long game. I mean, there's no valor with that, to be clear. Like, you have no balls, but you know, your mental health is probably more preserved.
You just described Rob.
All right, we have a lot more to get to in the afters, but let's get it cracking with toast, Rob. Who gets your toast tonight?